Bold Street looks ordinary. Shops, cafés, buses passing by. Nothing about it suggests that time behaves differently there. And that's exactly why the stories are unsettling. They don't begin with fear. They begin with routine. One of the earliest modern accounts comes from a man walking down Bold Street in the mid-1990s. It was a normal afternoon. He was running errands, thinking about groceries, mentally somewhere else. That's when the street changed. Not suddenly, not dramatically, quietly. The noise softened first. Cars still moved, but the sound felt distant. Footsteps echoed strangely, as if the street had widened. He noticed the shops. They weren't wrong, just older. Signs were hand-painted, logos unfamiliar, windows filled with items that didn't belong to the present. Men wore suits he'd only seen in photographs. Women passed in dresses that felt out of place, yet no one reacted. No one stared at him. No one seemed confused. Except him. He assumed it was a themed event, a reenactment, a film shoot. But there were no cameras, no crew, no modern elements hiding in the corners. He walked into a bookstore he knew well, or thought he knew. Inside, the smell was different. Paper, ink, something older. The books on display referenced events that hadn't happened yet. World War II was described as ongoing. That's when panic crept in. He stepped back outside. The street remained unchanged. Same era, same people, same calm acceptance. Then, just as quietly as it began, it ended. A bus passed. The sound snapped back. The signs shifted. Modern storefronts returned. People around him resumed their lives, unaware anything had changed. Minutes had passed, or maybe seconds. He stood there, shaken, holding a receipt from the bookstore. The address was Bold Street. The date was decades earlier. Similar stories followed. Different people, different years, same street. One woman described walking down Bold Street in the early 2000s. She blinked and suddenly found herself surrounded by military personnel. World War II uniforms, vehicles she'd only seen in documentaries, air raid posters on walls. She felt a deep, heavy fear, not personal, collective, like the city itself remembered something. She turned a corner, and everything returned to normal. Her phone still worked. The time hadn't changed. No one else noticed. Another account came from a delivery driver. He parked his van, stepped out, and found Bold Street eerily quiet. No modern advertisements, no digital signs. He said the street felt paused, not empty, paused. He felt watched, not by people, by the environment. He described a sense that he didn't belong there, as if he had entered a version of the street that wasn't meant for him. He returned to his van. The moment he shut the door, the street returned to the present. These accounts share patterns, always daytime, always brief, always accidental. No one sets out to experience it. No one can recreate it, and no one else ever seems to notice. Historians point out something curious. Bold Street sits on layers of older streets. Liverpool expanded rapidly. Buildings were replaced. Streets were rebuilt. Old foundations remained beneath the modern city. Some believe Bold Street acts as a fault line, not geological, temporal, a place where the past never fully left. Skeptics suggest memory distortion, stress, momentary dissociation, but that doesn't explain the physical details. Receipts, descriptions matching historical records, multiple people describing the same era without knowing each other. One man described seeing a shop that hadn't existed since the 1950s. He later found photographs. The storefront matched exactly. Another witness mentioned wartime signage that aligned perfectly with archived images. Too specific to be coincidence. There's also the question of emotion. Nearly everyone reports the same feeling. Not terror, displacement. A deep sense of being slightly out of sync, like standing half a step behind reality. Psychologists call it derealization. But derealization doesn't change street signs. It doesn't populate streets with historically accurate crowds, and it doesn't leave physical traces. Some researchers propose a different idea. That time isn't a straight line, that moments exist simultaneously, layered on top of each other. Most of the time, we stay aligned with one layer, but occasionally, alignment slips, only briefly, just enough to notice. Bold Street may be one of those places where alignment is weak, where the present doesn't fully overwrite the past, where history leaks through. Interestingly, Bold Street isn't associated with tragedy, no mass death, no catastrophic event, which makes it stranger. If trauma doesn't anchor it, what does? Some suggest repetition, daily routines, thousands of footsteps, generations passing through the same space. time wearing thin. Others believe awareness plays a role, that noticing something strange might be enough to trigger it, that the mind and environment interact in ways we don't understand. One witness described feeling a sudden stillness before it happened, like the street inhaled. Another said they felt out of place seconds before the shift, as if reality issued a warning. No one reports entering the future deliberately. No one controls the experience, and no one stays long. The street seems to reject prolonged presence, almost like a system correcting itself. People who try to linger describe dizziness, confusion, a pressure behind the eyes, reality pushing back. Bold Street today looks normal, busy, modern, but locals talk quietly. Shop owners have heard the stories. Some have their own. They don't advertise it. They don't want attention, because attention might not be harmless. Time slips aren't portals. They aren't doors. They're accidents. Moments where the rules loosen, where reality fails to stay perfectly aligned. And Bold Street reminds us of something uncomfortable, that the present might not be as stable as we think, that history isn't gone, it's nearby, running parallel. And sometimes, for reasons we don't understand, we step sideways instead of forward. And when it happens, there's no announcement, no sound, no signal, just a street you thought you knew, and the quiet realization that time doesn't always move the way we expect.